Today I'm going to talk about the Chinese mafia, or the Chinese criminal world. This is a subject I need to cover because a lot of folks think that this subject is quite complicated. It's not. It's not that complicated if you know how those pagans operate. So, this is a video, you can check it out yourself. I'm not going to show everything so I don't get in trouble with YouTube. Hold on. First off, look at this monument. These are sun rising monuments over here. These both refer to the sunrise. And in the middle, in the background, you see this building with a phallus symbol at the top to represent the promotion of sodomy. And when you look at the shape of these buildings, those have the shape of pyramids in it. So that's one thing to point out. Because you need to remember that the world is run by Apollonians. I used to call them Apollonists, but the correct term is Apollonians. Those are the ones that worship Apollo, the beast. It's clarified over here. This is where most people are, from 9 to 5, trapped. These are the organizations, let me make it a bit bigger, that people are dealing with. You have all these complicated structures, but it's one big homosexual pyramid game. And at the top you have the big fag Apollo. Mass murderer, pedophile, son of Satan himself. He's the king of this world system. He rules the paranormal. And when you look at here, those corporations, this is British Patrol right over here. It's a big sun, and use the color green that refers to witchcraft. Shell. It looks like a seashell they have over there, but when you look carefully, it's a sun symbol. And the red line around it refers to sun rays, so this is sun worship. This is Texaco, I believe. Or I can be wrong, but another company, it used the sun symbol and it used a pentagram in it. Hidden. Here you see 3 pyramids here. Here are MasterCard, you have 2 suns placed in it. I could go on and on and on. They all worship the beast. It's the NBC, I believe, also. The rainbow flag to promote homosexuality, as well as the sunrise, worshipping Apollo. Here. The eye of the beast. I don't go too much into this pyramid here. You get what it's about. But I want to point out that the Chinese mafia, or the Chinese criminal world, is ruled by one of these, what they call 13 bloodlines. I don't really want to call them bloodlines, because that would give them too much honor, as if they're something great while they're not. One of these 13 quote-unquote chosen families is the Li family, and that family is the one that rules the criminal world of the Chinese and also the criminal world of Asia as a whole. This is how you write the surname Li in Chinese. Now, in English you can spell it in diverse ways, like this one over here, this one, this one. This is it. It's a tree with a child below it. This means plum, according to a Chinese friend of mine who also has this last name. Now, not every Chinese individual, this last name is part of the Li bloodline, okay? Don't go there. But the Li bloodline is the one ruling the Chinese criminal world, and with that, the criminal world of the whole of Asia. The Li bloodline has its daughter organizations, as they call it, that spread Chinese crime all over the world. There's an article, an old one, about a Chinese criminal organization called Rising Dragon that's allegedly active in Latin America. I'm sure they're active over there, but even when they're active, they use other names so that nobody catch them that easily. You have them also in the United States, where they are involved in cannabis trade. You have them in Italy. In Italy, the authorities are bothered by them. You have them in the Netherlands also. Everywhere where you have a Chinatown, the Li bloodline is active. The main organization of China when it comes to criminality is the Triad. And I've searched in Google, and this is the symbol they're using, which is a pyramid. It's called a Triad. The pyramid referring to the beast, Apollo. And they use a dragon as a symbol. Now, who's the red dragon? Satan is. Okay? Here you can see them standing. Well, I'm not saying that all members of Triad pose like this, but here you can see them standing. They're supposed to form a pyramid shape, but they didn't do it well. And here, where was I again? Let me go back. Hold on. Here you can see other members of the Triad. They're posing in a ritual manner, because these are two pyramids over here, and the third pyramid refers to the head, to the bottom. So this one pyramid, and these are two pyramids. So these are three pyramids in this stance right over here. And they have tattoos all over themselves to mark themselves. And they are promoting homosexuality. Come on! Don't tell me you can't see that this is faggotry right over here. Males don't go around showing their figure like this. They don't. Especially not amongst other males. Why? Because the Triad is an organization run by the Li bloodline, and the Li bloodline are sodomites. They worship the beast, who's a sodomite demon, so they promote sodomy. Everyone that's part of their organization, part of their undertakings, need to promote homosexuality. Straight up. So this whole gangsta lifestyle thing is a sodomite lifestyle in disguise. That is what it is. Okay, I'm not going to show this too much. But about the Triad, it began in the 18th century when China was ruled by the Qin dynasty. This is a flag or the emblem of the former Qin dynasty. Look at this. The red circle or red sphere refers to the sun. Straight up. Here you have 10, you have 20 toes on this animal, 10 here in the back, 10 in the front, and there you have the sun. A 10 is an X is a 6, but a 10 is also Eo written in letters. Eo is ancient Greek for sun, so these 10 toes refer to the sun. This is an X over here, this is another X, and the sun's another X. So this is X, 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 or 666, coded right in here. They use a dragon, which refers to Satan, and use the color blue. Blue is a color of authority. So they're showing you that it's authority of the dragon, Satan, that they're enforcing on you. And of course, you need to refer onto the beast in it. That was the Qin dynasty, and these were the Qin emperors. Here you can see a picture of one of them. Let's check this. Oh, let me prefer this one. This one is better. It's an old grand warlock that ruled that thing called the Qin dynasty. Not even go into the decoration of the outfit, but you can see sun symbol in the forehead, which also refers to the third eye, and you have this phallus symbol on the crown that both forms a pyramid and refers onto the promotion of homosexuality also. Remember, they were sodomites. And here, there's a painting from the area. Look at this. Sun symbol. 3 circles or 3 circle-like shapes here, 3 suns, XXX, right over there. So the Qin dynasty, you can see a map of it here. This part at the sea, they lost to Russia eventually. Beijing, or at the time called Peking, was the capital. Let me look for a better image. Okay. In the Qin dynasty, you had the Han Chinese, you had the Manchus, you had the Wu Chinese, you had several Chinese ethnicities. So there was no Chinese nation. I want you to get that there was no Chinese nation. It did not exist. Okay? Here you can see it better. But what I wanted to point out is that during the Qin dynasty, you had this cult that emerged, run by the Li bloodline, of course, and this cult wanted to preserve the Chinese heritage. And the cult, on one hand, claimed they wanted to protect the emperor, but that's what all groups and cults did if they wanted acknowledgement by Chinese society. But in fact, they wanted to have their own autonomy in a financial manner. So this cult, the Triad, emerged there. And from there you had several smaller organizations, and through migration from China, with the expansion of the Chinese diaspora, those organizations were transported throughout the world. Okay? So, the Chinese criminal world is all centered around the worship of the beast. It's not just people out there wanting to make some money. Of course, there are greedy people there, but it's all sun worship. You need to get this. This was, I believe, the last emperor of China. He looks quite feminine, but okay, I'm not going into transvestigations over here. What you need to get is that these organizations, their purpose is to keep the Chinese diaspora in a state of anxiety. That is what they want to do. Because remember, when you are in a state of anxiety, you can't think straight. And when you can't think straight, you can't process things. Demons want you in such a state because it's in such a state that they can exploit you. And for those who don't know, this is Taiwan, which is called the Republic of China. And this is the People's Republic of China, mainland China. Many believe that there is a conflict between mainland China and the island China, Taiwan. But when you look carefully, okay, I'm going to make it big for you. So as you can see, I'm not making this up. This is the flag of China. It's red, and you have 5 stars, 5 suns in it. And the 5 suns form another sun. That's the 6th sun. So this is a reference to Helios right over here. Okay? Now let's continue. This is the national emblem of the People's Republic of China. Hold on. The internet's a bit slow, but yeah, let me click again. Here. What do you see here? Okay, let me make it smaller, if that works. Okay, what do you see here? This is a temple, that's obvious. Here, a sun below here. And you have multiple circles. You have one circle, a second circle, and a third circle. So this is 666 right over here below. This here is a Roman sun crown, which was green. Green refers to witchcraft. And we have 2 layers in it. 2 layers in its golden layer. And the third circle is this red here. So this is 3 times the sun symbol right over here. So you have 666 right over here. Here another time 666. And here you have, this forms another sun. These are 4 suns forming another sun right over here. Sun worship completely. Let's go to Taiwan. And hold on, let me bring this back to normal. Hold on, folks. Come on. Yes, finally. Look at this flag of Taiwan, or the Republic of China as it's called. Ah, there it is. Sun symbol. Obvious. You can't miss it. When you go to the national emblem, again, there's the sun. It's staring into your face. So don't believe this BS of this conflict, political conflict between China and Taiwan. It never happened. It's just a game to keep the Chinese population in a state of anxiety. That's what's all about, is to keep them in a state of fear. Both those that run Taiwan and those that run mainland China, they're both sun worshippers. They all worship the beast. This guy right over here, they're all sodomites. They all hate Christ. They hate females. Yes, they hate females. And they all want to keep people locked up in anxiety, to turn them into reprobates, to drag them all the way to the lake of fire. So they want to send as much Chinese folks to hell as possible. That's what they are doing. So now that you know that, now you know why those Chinese criminal organizations, why they have this code of honor amongst them. Why? Because they're part of one big family of sodomites. That's what they are. And I want to point out another thing. These Chinese criminal organizations, which at the head are run by the Li bloodline, they know that they need to benefit the Chinese diaspora one way or the other, or else they can't function. So yes, they keep the Chinese population worldwide, especially outside of China, in a state of anxiety. That's true. That's obvious. We know that. But they need to bring some benefit to those same Chinese people. Now, what is the benefit they bring onto them? I'm glad you've asked it. They offer economic security to the Chinese diaspora. This was a Chinese empress that took over the administration of China for a while. And look at her outfit. Suns here, suns there. Okay, you can see it's filled with suns in it. Let's assume this is a female, but okay, this is the role. So, and they're sodomites. They may have other intentions. So they offer economic security. It goes like this. Let's say you have a Chinatown. Let me type in Chinatown right over here. Chinatown, Antwerp. Okay, hold on. It's a Chinatown in Antwerp, Belgium. Okay. So let's say you have the Chinatown of Antwerp. And let's say now that in Belgium, this is just a parable I'm using. I'm not saying it's happening nor that it will happen. Maybe it will happen, but okay. You have this Chinatown in Antwerp, and you have a Chinese community in Belgium. Let's say that the Belgian people, well, there's no Belgian people. You have the Flemish people, the Wallonian people, and some German-speaking people. Let's say the people that live in a territory of Belgium, which is a fake state, by the way. Let's say the people over there turn on the Chinese. They treat the Chinese very badly, and the Chinese lose their jobs. They're not getting any welfare either. So now there are Chinese folks that will likely die of hunger if they don't get any help. Now, what happens next? The Li bloodline has the Triad and other criminal organizations that are the watchdogs of the Chinese community in Belgium. And they report everything to Hong Kong because the Li bloodline is settled in Hong Kong. They report everything to Hong Kong. And the Chinese diaspora, generations, they've been trained to have their own migrant economy. So that's why you have Chinatowns. Okay, because the Chinese are trained to be active, to have their own economic, financial resources. And that's a good thing for every migrant community. But let's say that migrant community and their economy are under threat. You have those agents, in this example, in Antwerp, that sent an email to the Triad in Hong Kong, and the Triad reported to one of the princes of the Li dynasty. And what happens next is that the Li dynasty comes together, they're going to discuss it, and one of them says, those Belgian people are turning on the Chinese over there. This ain't right. Soon our people will be in trouble. Then another one says, then we know what to do, we know the protocol. We will alert our brothers in Brussels, who also worship the beast, that we're going to take measures against the Belgian people. And they know we have a right to do it because that's according to the pyramid scheme. So then the prince of the Li family tells the Triad leaders, they're all sodomized, they tell them, I want you to send agents to Belgium, and I want you to both give handouts to some of the Chinese families, and at the same time, I want you to form gangs, and I want you to begin to scam many Belgian people. I want you to plunder many bank accounts. I want you to ride in the streets and throw and break windows of Belgian businesses. I want you to cause chaos and horror over there in Antwerp. I want it to be done swiftly. So then the Triad leaders hear it and they act on it. Within the same day, you will have Chinese gangsters flying from China or Taiwan, from wherever they are, to Antwerp. When they arrive in Antwerp, you will have people from the Chinatowns who are agents of the Triad waiting on them there. And when they arrive, they receive further instructions and they act out the operation. And they report everything to Hong Kong. What happens next? When in the Belgian media there are many reports of crime increasing, the leaders of Belgium are already aware of what's going on because they're part of the pact. But anyway, we'll have Belgian people, Belgian police officers, people that are not aware of it that want answers. And then, when they want answers, they'll find out that many of those crimes are committed by Chinese gangs. And then, subtly, some of the European Apollo worshippers will inform those Belgian people that they better treat the Chinese well, or else things will get out of hand. And they'll notice, the people in Belgium, that when those Chinese folks commit some crimes, they're not prosecuted, because the legal system is run by some worshippers also. So soon, maybe in less than a month or two, peace has returned between the Chinese community in Belgium and the native Belgian people, and things continue as usual. And from that point on, nobody dares to openly discriminate against Chinese folks again. Because they know, when they do that, there will be repercussions and there will be vengeance from the Triad. And this is why, I'm not talking on behalf of all Chinese folks here, because there are exceptions. But that's why, in general, the Chinese diaspora tolerates the Triad, and they tolerate those criminal gangs. Why? Because those criminal gangs serve a purpose for them. They are the social and financial backup of the Chinese diaspora. Without them, the Chinese worldwide would face discrimination, and if things turn homicidal in a country, it may even turn genocidal. Because remember, when a population is upset, they will look for victims to take it out on. And if you have a minority is an easy target. The Chinese diaspora worldwide has one advantage, that they all have their local economies as migrants. So that's a good thing. So they're not that dependent on the host country. In fact, they make sure they have investments in the host country so that they are economically relevant. There's another backup they have. And the third backup is they have those criminals that haunt them, but those criminals haunt them also protects them. Those criminals also protect them. Now you know why many Chinese migrants tolerate the Chinese Triad and the Chinese gangs to extort them. Because they know that it's those people that eventually will stand up for them when things turn ugly. This is not to justify those Chinese criminal gangs, absolutely not. And I'm just pointing out to you how it works. And here's another thing what those Chinese criminal gangs are doing. They're targeting believers. Because Chinese Christians, not only in China, Chinese Christians worldwide are targeted by the Chinese Triad. Why? Because the Chinese Triad is an institution by Apollonians. And Apollonians are anti-Christ because they worship the false Christ Apollo. So when you have Chinese folks that forfeit allegiance to the Triad, they become a target. And the rest of the Chinese migrant community will likely shut up and side with the Triad. Such things happen. 3 times sunrise. And you can see that for yourself. The symbolism. I don't have to point that out. This illustration shows how Chinese organized crime functions. There's state sponsorship, political activism going on. Virtual cyber gangs, because remember they're also active online. It's not just Nigerian scammers you need to look out for. There are many Chinese scammers also. They often scam Asian folks, but they can also scam others, okay? Street gangs, very popular method of theirs. Those are the foot soldiers. And you have many Chinese folks who are in government or in the school system or even in churches that are agents for them. And they love to recruit youths, especially men, because remember, it's a sodomite organization. They have secret hand signs. Well, they're not that secret anymore. Similar to Freemasonry also. And they commit crime a lot. And they try to lure the youth with crumbs like this. I'm not even sure if this is real gold to begin with. Just like every criminal organization, they want to recruit people by offering them what appears to be a pleasant lifestyle. It's only after you're part of that lifestyle that you realize how bad it is. And sooner or later, but often soon, you'll have to get involved in the rituals. You will have to go to the dark room. You'll need to sign your name in blood. You need to do all of that. It's not just in Hollywood that you have to sign your name in blood, go to the rituals. It's with all Apollonian institutions. Again, the Triad in China and Hong Kong, well, I said Hong Kong is their base. There's a warlock cabinet over here because those that run the Triad and those Chinese criminal organizations, they are warlocks. And the Li bloodline are the wizards that supervise them. By the way, Bruce Lee was from the Li bloodline. He revealed some occult secrets in a form of martial arts. So now you know that also. But I'm not going to talk about Bruce Lee in this video. Look, when you're dealing with such groups, know who they worship. Know what they promote. Homosexuality. This is the chief sodomite here, and these are the bootlicks that follow him. That pattern you see in those Apollonian institutions. You have the chief sodomite who screws all the other men, and those other men are bootlicks that follow him for approval. That's why you have this culture of fear, fright, and violence. Many think that this culture of fear, fright, and violence men think it's manly in some kind of way. It's not manly. It's not manly at all. Absolutely not. Straight up, there's nothing manly about it. And I'm not picking on Chinese here, because the same is going on in some black neighborhoods when you have those black gangs, when they think they are manly for being thugs and all of that. No, you're not. Absolutely not. Well, I don't want to make this video too long. Just realize that that is what you're dealing with. Warlock cabinets who worship the beast, who are sodomized, who hate females. They run brothels, they run child trafficking, they run pedophile rings, they run the drug trade, they extort other Chinese people and also Japanese and Korean people and other Asian people. They commit a lot of money laundering. They support resistance movements, which is controlled opposition. That's all they do. Devil worship or Apollo worship is very big in Asia. But because a lot of people associate Apollo only with Europe, people think that Apollo worship is only a white people thing. It's not. All the leaders of this world worship the beast. They all do. Okay? And in Asia, they don't put images of this guy over here on all the corners of the street. Even in Europe, there are times they hide the face of this guy. But in Europe, you'll see the face of this guy often. But because in Asia, you obviously have a Buddha statue, people think that the Asians have nothing to do with Apollo worship. They're wrong. The world is run by this demonic entity. And all the leaders of the world and the pagan businessmen and all the criminal syndicates, they all worship him. They all have 666 marked in their mind. And their job is to keep us over here in a state of anxiety. As a believer, you can escape being a debt slave by the guidance of the Holy Spirit. You'll still be in the world, but you will not be trapped by this pyramid game. That's what Christ wants. Just remember that every church that does not align themselves with Christ is part of this. Okay? So when those pagan churches talk about their Lord and Savior, this is who they are referring to. Okay? And when they talk about the Holy Ghost, they're referring to the half-brother of Apollo, Hermes, also called Lagos, or Lagos in Portuguese. So, that's it for this video. Do not be deceived. Do not be afraid. In Christ, you're more than a conqueror. Be at peace.